The next few periods passed quickly, and eventually the bell for fifth period rang. I remember walking into class feeling confident about what I was going to say. About 10 minutes passed, and then the presentations began. The groups before talked about nature versus nurture, psychological disorders, and different approaches to psychology. Finally, it was my group's turn to present. Our topic was debating whether social media was harmful to adolescent development. As my group successfully delivered their words, it soon became my turn to talk. My partner said her last few lines. And now Jordan will talk about the pros of social media. I opened my mouth and said my first few sentences smoothly. The volume of my voice was loud and echoed through the entire class. Each line I delivered powerfully resonated. Everyone was engaged and the presentation was going perfect. Just as I was finishing up a paragraph, I froze. My mouth stopped moving and my shoulder became tensed. I felt my heartbeat rapidly increase. I could feel everybody's eyes piercing at my body. Sweat began to roll down my skin and my hands felt numb. My face turned rose red as I slowly began to mumble the words off the paper. I tried to continue the presentation, but I struggled to articulate my words. I barely finished my last few words and painfully walked back to my desk and closed my eyes. I told myself, "You're the biggest idiot. You're such a joke." Everyone in that class was going to remember that moment. I felt like trapping myself in a closet door, so that way I could hide myself from shame. I would have felt more comfortable alone in darkness. My self-confidence was very low after that moment. I no longer would raise my hand to speak in class and feared for the next presentation. I was so embarrassed that I considered skipping fifth period psychology the next few days. I truly felt that I had failed my group. I knew I would be judged by my peers. For years, I've cared a lot about what others think of me. In many instances, I've tried to change my identity. I thought that by changing certain aspects of myself, such as how I dressed or even talked, that I would fit into the popular crowd. This all relates to the low self-confidence I had for myself. Whenever I looked at my reflection in the mirror, I was never pleased with who was staring back. Insecurities about my personality consumed my mind. As a result, I kept trying to do something I was not. And as I think back to that moment sophomore year, I realized how idiotic it was in me to care so much about how I appeared in front of the class. With maturity came the realization that what others thought of me is not as important as what I think of myself. I stopped worrying about what everybody else's perception of me was, and then I became a much happier individual. My overall well-being peaked, and today I'm a better person because of it.